Welcome to our exploration of research ethics in biopsychology. As we dive into the world of scientific discovery, it's crucial to understand the ethical principles that guide researchers in this field. Biopsychology, which examines the biological basis of behavior, often involves sensitive studies with both human and animal subjects. Ethical considerations are not just formalities, they are the foundation for responsible and credible research. In this video, we'll walk through the core ethical principles, discuss their importance, and see how they shape every stage of biopsychological research. Let's begin by understanding why ethics matter so much in this scientific discipline. Before we delve deeper into ethics, let's clarify what biopsychology is all about. Biopsychology, also known as behavioral neuroscience, studies how the brain and nervous system influence behavior, thoughts, and emotions. Researchers in this field use a variety of methods, from brain imaging to animal models, to uncover the mysteries of the mind. Because their work often involves living beings, ethical guidelines are especially important. Understanding the scope of biopsychology helps us appreciate why ethical standards are so rigorously applied in this area. Ethics are the backbone of any scientific discipline, but in biopsychology they take on special significance. Researchers must balance the pursuit of knowledge with the responsibility to protect their subjects from harm. Unethical research can lead to physical or psychological injury, loss of trust, and even legal consequences. Moreover, ethical lapses can undermine the validity of scientific findings. By adhering to ethical standards, researchers ensure their work is respected, credible, and beneficial to society. There are several core ethical principles that guide research in biopsychology. These include respect for persons, beneficence, and justice. Respect for persons means recognizing the autonomy and dignity of all research participants. Beneficence requires researchers to maximize benefits and minimize harm. Justice ensures that the benefits and burdens of research are distributed fairly. These principles form the ethical framework that underpins every decision in biopsychological research. One of the most important ethical requirements in biopsychology is obtaining informed consent from participants. This means that individuals must be fully aware of the nature, risks, and benefits of the study before agreeing to take part. Researchers must provide clear, understandable information and ensure that participation is voluntary. Informed consent protects participants' autonomy and helps build trust between researchers and the public. Protecting the confidentiality and privacy of research participants is another cornerstone of ethical research. In biopsychology, sensitive data about mental and physical health may be collected. Researchers must ensure that this information is stored securely and only shared with authorized personnel. Maintaining confidentiality not only protects participants but also encourages honest and accurate responses, which are essential for valid research outcomes. Key ethical obligation in biopsychology is to minimize harm to participants. This includes both physical and psychological risks. Researchers must carefully design studies to avoid unnecessary discomfort or distress. If risks are unavoidable, they must be clearly explained to participants, and steps should be taken to mitigate them. The well-being of participants must always take priority over the goals of the research. Research participants, such as children, the elderly, or individuals with cognitive impairments, are considered vulnerable. Extra ethical safeguards are needed when working with these groups. Researchers must ensure that consent is obtained from legal guardians when necessary and that additional protections are in place to prevent exploitation or harm. Respecting the rights and dignity of vulnerable populations is a fundamental ethical responsibility. Psychology often involves animal research to understand biological processes. Ethical guidelines require that animals are treated humanely and that their use is justified by the potential benefits of the research. Researchers must minimize pain and distress, provide appropriate housing and care, and use alternatives whenever possible. Oversight by ethics committees ensures that animal welfare is always a top priority. Institutional review boards, or IRBs, play a critical role in overseeing research ethics. These committees review research proposals to ensure that ethical standards are met and that participants are protected. IRBs evaluate study design, consent procedures, and risk management plans. Their approval is required before any research involving humans or animals can begin, providing an essential layer of accountability. Ethics committees, including IRBs and animal care committees, are responsible for ensuring that research adheres to ethical guidelines. They review protocols, monitor ongoing studies, and investigate any ethical concerns that arise. By providing independent oversight, these committees help maintain public trust in scientific research and protect the rights and welfare of all participants. Sometimes, researchers use deception to prevent bias or ensure valid results. However, deception must be justified and used only when absolutely necessary. Participants should be debriefed as soon as possible, and any potential harm must be minimized. Ethics committees carefully review studies involving deception to ensure that the benefits outweigh the risks. Debriefing is an essential ethical practice, especially in studies involving deception. After participation, researchers must explain the true purpose of the study and address any questions or concerns. Debriefing helps restore trust, ensures participants leave without distress, and provides an opportunity for feedback. It's a key step in maintaining ethical standards throughout the research process. Participation in biopsychological research must always be voluntary. Researchers should never coerce or pressure individuals to take part. Participants must know they can withdraw from the study at any time without penalty. This principle protects individual autonomy and ensures that research is conducted with respect and integrity. Every research study must undergo a risk-benefit analysis. Researchers and ethics committees weigh the potential benefits of the research against the possible risks to participants. Only studies where the benefits clearly outweigh the risks are approved. This careful evaluation helps ensure that research is both ethical and worthwhile. Transparency is a key ethical value in biopsychology. Researchers must be open about their methods, funding sources, and potential conflicts of interest. Transparent practices help prevent misconduct and allow others to replicate and verify findings. This openness is essential for building trust within the scientific community and with the public. Ethical research demands honesty and integrity. Plagiarism and data fabrication are serious violations that can damage reputations and undermine scientific progress. Researchers must always give proper credit for others' work and report data truthfully. Institutions often use plagiarism detection tools and data audits to maintain high ethical standards. If something goes wrong during a study, such as an unexpected injury or adverse reaction, researchers must report it immediately. Prompt reporting allows for quick action to protect participants and prevent further harm. Ethics committees may require changes to the study or even halt it if necessary. This process ensures ongoing safety and accountability. Biopsychological research often involves participants from diverse backgrounds. Researchers must be culturally sensitive and respectful of different values, beliefs, and customs. This includes adapting consent procedures and study designs to be inclusive and fair. Cultural sensitivity helps ensure that research is ethical and relevant to all communities. Proper data management is essential for ethical research. Researchers must store data securely, control access, and ensure that information is only used for its intended purpose. Data breaches can have serious consequences for participants' privacy and trust. By following best practices in data security, researchers uphold their ethical responsibilities. Ethical considerations extend to the publication of research findings. Researchers must report results honestly, disclose conflicts of interest, and avoid duplicate publication. Journals often have strict guidelines to ensure that published research meets ethical standards. This transparency helps maintain the integrity of the scientific record. Peer review process is a critical part of ethical research. Independent experts evaluate research for quality, validity, and ethical compliance before it is published. Peer review helps catch errors, prevent misconduct, and improve the overall standard of scientific work. It's a key safeguard for maintaining trust in biopsychological research. Open science practices such as sharing data and methods promote transparency and collaboration. However, researchers must balance openness with the need to protect participant privacy. Ethical data sharing involves removing identifying information and obtaining consent for data use. These practices help advance science while respecting participants' rights. Conflicts of interest can arise when researchers have personal or financial interests that could influence their work. Ethical guidelines require full disclosure of any potential conflicts. Transparency helps prevent bias and ensures that research findings are trustworthy and objective. Biopsychological research is increasingly global. Researchers must navigate different ethical standards and regulations across countries. International studies require careful planning to ensure that all participants are protected and that research complies with local laws and customs. Collaboration with local ethics committees is often essential for success. Advances in genetics and neuroimaging have opened new frontiers in biopsychology. However, these technologies raise unique ethical questions about privacy, consent, and the potential misuse of sensitive information. Researchers must take extra care to explain risks and protect participants' genetic and brain data from unauthorized access or discrimination. Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and brain-computer interfaces present new ethical challenges. Researchers must anticipate potential risks and ensure that ethical guidelines evolve alongside technological advances. Ongoing dialogue between scientists, ethicists, and the public is crucial for responsible innovation. Compensating research participants is common, but it must be done ethically. Payments should not be so large that they coerce participation, especially among vulnerable groups. Researchers must ensure that compensation is fair and does not influence participants' decisions to join or stay in a study. Some biopsychological studies require long-term follow-up with participants. Ethical considerations include ongoing consent, privacy, and the right to withdraw at any time. Researchers must maintain communication and ensure that participants continue to understand their rights throughout the study. Engaging with the communities involved in research helps ensure that studies are ethical and relevant. Researchers should seek input from community members, address their concerns, and share results in accessible ways. Community engagement builds trust and improves the quality and impact of biopsychological research. With the rise of online studies, new ethical challenges have emerged. Researchers must ensure secure data collection, obtain informed consent digitally, and protect participants' privacy in virtual environments. Adapting ethical guidelines for online research is essential as technology continues to evolve. All researchers must receive training in research ethics before conducting studies. Training covers topics like informed consent, data management, and dealing with ethical dilemmas. Ongoing education ensures that researchers stay up to date with evolving standards and best practices. Ethical dilemmas are inevitable in complex research. Researchers must be prepared to recognize and address these challenges. Consulting with ethics committees, seeking peer advice, and prioritizing participant welfare are all important strategies for resolving ethical conflicts responsibly. When ethical violations occur, it's important for researchers to report them. Whistleblowing systems allow individuals to raise concerns confidentially. Institutions must protect whistleblowers from retaliation and investigate all reports thoroughly. This process helps maintain high ethical standards in biopsychology. Collaborative research, especially across institutions or countries, requires clear ethical agreements. All partners must adhere to shared standards and communicate openly about ethical issues. Collaboration enhances research quality but also demands careful coordination to protect participants and maintain integrity. Researchers must be cautious when sharing findings with the media or public. Ethical communication involves avoiding exaggeration, respecting confidentiality, and presenting results accurately. Misrepresentation can harm public trust and participants, so careful messaging is essential. Funding sources can influence research priorities and outcomes. Ethical guidelines require transparency about funding and independence in study design and reporting. Researchers must avoid conflicts of interest and ensure that sponsors do not compromise ethical standards. Students conducting biopsychological research must follow the same ethical standards as professionals. Supervisors play a key role in guiding students through the ethical review process and ensuring that studies are designed and conducted responsibly. This training prepares future researchers to uphold ethical values throughout their careers. Clinical trials in biopsychology must meet strict ethical requirements. These include thorough risk assessment, informed consent, and ongoing monitoring for adverse effects. Trials must be registered and results reported transparently, regardless of outcome. These measures protect participants and ensure scientific integrity. Ethical data analysis means using appropriate methods, avoiding manipulation, and reporting results honestly. Selective reporting or data dredging can mislead others and damage trust. Researchers must follow best practices and be transparent about their analytical choices. Recruiting participants ethically involves providing clear information, respecting privacy, and avoiding undue influence. Researchers must ensure that recruitment materials are honest and that participants understand their rights. Ethical recruitment builds trust and encourages voluntary participation. Reporting negative or null results is an important ethical responsibility. Suppressing such findings can distort the scientific record and waste resources. Researchers must publish all results, positive or negative, to contribute to a complete and accurate understanding of biopsychological phenomena. If errors are discovered after publication, researchers have an ethical duty to correct them. This may involve issuing corrections, retractions, or updates. Prompt and transparent correction maintains the integrity of the scientific record and demonstrates accountability. Mentors have a responsibility to model ethical behavior and guide trainees in ethical research practices. This includes discussing ethical dilemmas, encouraging open communication, and fostering a culture of integrity. Strong mentorship helps build the next generation of ethical researchers. As biopsychology continues to evolve, so too must our ethical standards. Ongoing education, open dialogue, and a commitment to participant welfare will remain essential. By upholding the highest ethical principles, researchers can ensure that their work benefits individuals, communities, and society as a whole. Thank you for joining us on this journey through research ethics in biopsychology.